I'm hitting
And
start. Are we getting the slides up? Are the slides going to come up? All right. All right. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen who are on this webinar, either watching it live or recorded, please accept our apologies for some of the technological problems. It's not because we're not trying, because we've all tried very hard today to try to make this work. But as most of you know, the internet doesn't always cooperate with you. So, welcome to the International Association of Fire Chiefs Volunteer and Combination Officer Section webinar series. Today, we're going to talk about recruitment and retention, something that we know is hard in this day and age to be successful at. But we got a department who's been recognized for their system and how they've done retention and recruitment. So I'll cover a few things and then we'll keep moving ahead here. So, well, I tried to get the slide to move forward. That didn't work. There we go. This is using voice over IP technology. If you experience technical difficulties, I tell you the secret we've had is it works best. Log out, log right back in, and more than likely it will work. So, if you experience technical difficulties that are more than that, then we'll have to talk about using the chat function and trying to get some help from the IFC support team. So, all right. Well, Leba, I'm not sure how come the slides are not forward. There is a question and answer tab. I will be trying to monitor that. We want to hear comments from you, and we want to hear questions for the speakers. Unless the question is something urgent, we will not interrupt the presentation. We'll let them continue on, and I will log the questions for the end of the presentation and use those at the end. So there are some resource materials in the handout section that you should be able to download without any problem. So next slide. We are recording this session, and we're certainly glad that you're doing that, or we're doing that, because you can look at it later. You can use it in officers' meetings. You can use it as part of your training for officers in how to recruit and retain. So I should have introduced myself, although I've been hosting the webinars for a while. If you've attended them in the past, my name is John Buckman. I'm the education coordinator for the Volunteer and Combination Officer section. I've been involved with the VCOS for a couple years, and we are excited today to have Chief Blaine Lease with us to talk about their recruitment and retention program. They received an award at Symposium in the Sun from the VCOS that is sponsored by VFIS Insurance. So with that, Chief Lease, I will turn the slide program and the rest of the program over to you.
Thank you, sir. Hope everybody can hear us, and sorry that we're having some technical difficulties. But we wanted to present the Upper Merion Township Fire and EMS Recruitment and Retention Program to you. With me, I have our leadership team in the fire department, fire and EMS. My name is Blaine Lease. I'm the public safety director and the police chief. To my left, I have Jerry Recupito, the deputy fire chief of Swedesburg, one of the legacy volunteer fire stations. Right here next to me is Bill Genoway. He's the township safety chief and assistant chief of King of Prussia Fire Company. To my right is James Johnson, the fire chief of Upper Merion Township Fire and EMS. Next to Chief Johnson is Deputy Chief of Rangers. He's the Deputy Chief of Swedeland Fire Company, one of the three legacy companies. And next to Dennis is Deputy Chief Bob Small from the King of Prussia Volunteer Fire Company. So we put this presentation together so everybody had a little taste of what we do here in Upper Merion regarding recruitment and retention. We do have the chat box up. So if anybody has a question or sees anything or has a problem, just type a message in there and we'll try to address it. It does appear that the sound on our videos is not working. It will not take from the program. It just won't have excellent anticipation music behind the graphics there. This is our one-page informational guide. We're going to break that down throughout the presentation and just take it from a point where we started to where we're at today. So you'll see a bunch of this later on. There's no need to dwell on that at this point. We started with the 3 volunteer fire companies along with our EMS provider in Upper Marion Township. That was Lafayette Ambulance, the King of Prussia Fire Company, Swedland Volunteer Fire Company, and Swedesburg Volunteer Fire Company. We took that and made them a part of the Upper Marion Township Fire and EMS division. We continued on bringing emergency management and the police department into what is the Upper Marion Township Public Safety Department. And we'll describe that a little bit more in depth in a few. The organization looks like this. The Director of Public Safety, responsible for the chief of the Fire and EMS Division and the Police Department command staff, and each division runs their own departments under the Public Safety org chart. I'm going to pass this to Safety Chief Genoway, who can describe where we came from and why we got to where we are today.
Thank you, Chief. In 2018, throughout Pennsylvania, there were a variety of challenges being posed to the volunteer and career fire services. Throughout Pennsylvania, there was a serious financial crisis. Volunteers were declining both in fire and EMS. From a career standpoint, the competitive wage situation was problematic. There were delayed response times continuing to become exorbitant. And there were 2 policy documents created by the State House of Representatives and the Senate. One was called SR 60, followed by SR 6, which created strategic plans dealing with the delivery of fire and EMS services in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. This was supplemented by something called the State House Budget and Finance Committee, which did an analysis and suggested regionalization of fire and EMS agencies. All of these documents and the challenges being posed provided models for advancing the performance improvement and regionalization of fire and EMS.
Okay. Can you guys still see us and hear us?
John can, yes.
Okay.
The first and probably the biggest challenge came from our EMS operations. It was a community-based system. It was led by a board of directors, and the township paid the workers' compensation and did capital funding, but the operational aspects were all handled by a third-party agency or the volunteer EMS system. Management issues, the quality of service, financial constraints, and the staffing crisis all contributed to a challenge for them to continue to provide the service. Discussions were begun under the board of directors, and they were represented by a solicitor, and a dissolution clause was issued in the Orphans Court of Pennsylvania, and the Upper Marion Township Board of Supervisors then decided that we would move forward and take over the EMS delivery models. And that occurred in 2018. That was the first move toward the consolidated fire and EMS system. In 2016, a study was conducted, and in that study, it was identified that we needed to establish benchmarks where we could say, at this point, we need to consider the non-traditional volunteer response from home system. And at certain times of the day, that standard of cover was not being achieved. We used the standard of cover that was established in the year 2000 during an accreditation process from the King of Prussia Fire Company, where it was determined that we had a delivery model that could be met. And about 2016, 17, that model began to erode. And it was not that it was problematic to deliver the service, but there were fewer volunteers and the call volume continued to increase. That resulted in a delayed response time. Volunteer stipend staffing through a SAFER grant was implemented, and that was done for daytime staffing to try and keep a minimum coverage. Unfortunately, full employment and fewer municipal employees or fewer unemployed personnel resulted in even more challenges being posed for personnel being responsible for getting on the trucks and responding in the daytime. So the decision was to move forward and obtain a SAFER grant, a second SAFER grant, that would result in the hiring of 6 firefighter EMTs. Why firefighter EMTs? Because the call volume and the complaints and the overall delivery models were more affecting the emergency medical services than fire. And when the challenges became evident to the Board of Supervisors from a complaint standpoint and from additional legal challenges, then it was decided that we had to do something about EMTs and EMS. So we then decided that it was time to look at a different business model for the Department of Public Safety and coordinated fire, EMS, emergency management, and police into that unified Department of Public Safety.
Bill, before you go on, I said I wasn't going to interrupt you, but you used the term standard of cover. Maybe explain that, because I'm not sure everybody understands that or even uses that in our normal language.
Sure, John. In the year 2000, King of Prussia Fire Company became accredited by the Commission on Fire Accreditation International, or as we know it today, the Commission on Public Safety Excellence. As part of that process, there's a requirement to establish a standard of cover. In simplistic terms, what's going to respond to what types of calls in how many minutes with what type of resources. That model was advanced through the accreditation team that came to visit the fire department. It then was advanced to the Board of Supervisors to approve, and then was implemented into the accreditation documentation, which was evaluated by the team that came on site. It was that model that we used to determine that we can't achieve it, and at 90% was our coverage goal. We can't achieve it 90%, and it was because we couldn't get there from home in time on a 90% basis to get the trucks out to get them to the scenes. That's what prompted the change in the hiring of the career firefighter EMTs. The business model for EMS was driven by the County Emergency Medical Council, and at that point in time, we were not meeting that goal either.
Thank you.
So from day one, it was clear from the elected officials that, and I might add that I serve as one of those elected officials and have since 2010. The Board of Supervisors said that the goal here was to improve our response time and that this would support our current volunteers, not totally replace them, and that we would use the SAFER grant to achieve this. And we hired our fire and EMS chief at that time. We hired 6 career firefighters under the SAFER grant, and we used the same model as the police officer hiring process. This created challenges, but it was this decision that we made. And the reason I say that is, I would say it's a higher standard than what you would find in probably 90% of the fire departments in the United States. We require minimum post-high school education. We require you to come in with certain levels of fire and EMS training. We require you to come in and have certain other qualifications and age brackets and so on. So we then, out of that first 6, made 2 firefighter EMT supervisors and had 4 firefighter EMTs, and we hired EMS personnel, EMTs and paramedics, from the former Lafayette ambulance, and then went out and hired people from outside of the system that Lafayette was currently providing.
All right. So the career staff, they operate as an engine or a squad company. They, like Bill had said earlier, that the EMS was suffering. So a lot of our calls are QRS in nature, which is that quick response for extra emergency medical service personnel in the form of EMTs. The initial 6 firefighters operated from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. It expanded to include weekends, and then 1 unit 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we grew from 6 firefighters to 8. We split them into 2 platoons of 4. We did that for 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then that allowed us to go for another safer grant to cover the nighttime, and that's where we would get the 1 unit 24/7 as we do today. Call volume has increased by over 100% in less than 2 years. So aside from all their other duties that they're performing as far as building inspections, training, they're out there doing a lot of motor vehicle accidents, a lot of entrapments. We have a lot of highways in our area where they're very busy with motor vehicle incidents. In 2024, we had 20 career firefighters total. 12 firefighters were obtained, like I said, from that latest SAFER grant. We have a 5-person engine crew, and that 5th firefighter makes up the 3rd out EMS crew with the EMS captain. We found that increased our EMS coverage for the municipality by 12.5%. So that's about 500 patient contacts and no delay waiting for mutual aid EMS resources from the surrounding area. The fire and the EMS divisions are each union. They have a collective bargaining agreement. They perform, like I said, they perform rental inspections. We have a lot of commercial. We have a lot of high-rise luxury apartment living. And on apartment rollovers, move in, move out, the career fire team goes out during the day, during the week, and performs a safety inspection. They also install smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors and attend fire prevention activities at our local schools. Our volunteers, as everywhere, have been under a great deal of stress to meet the increasing demands. They continue to provide in-station engine ladder response from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. During the week, and then on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, 24-hour coverage on Saturday and Sunday. They will always be a part of the Department of Public Safety, and they do their best to participate as much as they can as their personal lives will allow.
The emergency management team was brought in under the police chief, the police department, for a couple of reasons. Under the new model, the police department took over emergency management and the emergency management coordinator. That way, it was the police chief at the time was able to communicate with that person on a daily basis about any issues that are arising in the township. The emergency management coordinator was well versed in all emergency services and police, fire, EMS. At the time, the person was an EMT, a longstanding assistant chief in his local volunteer fire company, and in the police department held the position of lieutenant. The police department also has a greater support staff to assist with emergency management duties. Currently, there's a police lieutenant, there's a police sergeant, and then they have multiple civilians that work with them in the emergency management division. So it made sense to bring that into a department that had multiple different avenues of assistance, if you will. And those are all photographs of our different emergency management duties and roles.
Blaine, before we move into this, it might be worthwhile to just let the people know what Upper Merion is and where it is. Upper Merion Township sits 7 miles from the city of Philadelphia along an interstate highway. And Upper Merion Township has just under 37,000 residents. We have approximately 70,000 people who work in the township. There are approximately 250,000 vehicles that move through the township daily. And we have the largest mall in the United States. No offense to Bloomington, Minnesota, but the King of Prussia Mall is the largest retail shopping complex in the United States with just under 4 million square feet of retail. That brings in excess of 30 million people per year to visit that complex. We have 24 miles of interstate highway, and there's a hazardous materials carrying vehicle on those highways every minute of every day, plus a rail yard that covers the same numbers of transport of trailers or cars every day. So it's a very, very busy community, and it is known as the business hub of suburban Philadelphia.
Thanks, Bill. Chief Johnson is going to speak about the personnel and where they come from and how we obtain them and how they move through our process.
Thanks, Blaine. Just to add to what Bill said, we also have a big section of the Schuylkill River, which draws a lot of activity with boaters and recreational fishing people and anglers. So we have the Valley Forge National Park as well as a big part of our base. So personnel, where do we get our resources? Well, we get them from residents, local residents that volunteer. Some of the three gentlemen that are sitting here that are the deputy chiefs and the safety chief Genoway are all local residents. We get them from people that move into the community, into these luxury apartments. We get them from legacy members, sons, daughters, nieces, and nephews. So that's very typical of a lot of volunteer organizations across the Commonwealth, is that legacy membership. We get non-residents. We have people that come from the surrounding area that they volunteer here, and they'll talk about stipend later on as far as being a stipend volunteer. We have safer grant and career hires we've spoke about already. The safer grant hires helps make the municipality with the upfront costs as far as future financial planning and retention. So when you get that safer grant, that really helps fix a quick problem and get you staff with funding from the federal government, but it also allows the community leaders, and like Bill mentioned earlier, he is one of the elected officials. It helps them plan for the future in year 4 when that grant money runs out. So that really helps the township manager and elected officials. The way we attract people, we use a job flyer or posting for our career members on social media. We have a Facebook page. Our HR department helps us out with posting on Indeed and Glassdoor. So we get and there's a lot of word of mouth in the fire service in the southeastern portion of Pennsylvania, and a lot of combination departments that the chatter around the coffee tables in the fire stations. That's where you learn a lot about what's going on around you. The prerequisites for the career staff, they were required to have college credits, EMT, vehicle rescue tech, firefighter 1, hazmat ops, a PA driver's license, and a current first aid and CPR card. A lot of those prerequisites are very similar to what the volunteers have to achieve, just so that we have an even playing field and everybody's being treated the same. And that's kind of the common theme in a combination department is treating everyone in the same way. Developing components, we have career members. They do a child abuse clearance through Pennsylvania state website. They have an FBI background check. They get an NFPA physical, a psychological evaluation. They get oriented to the department. They learn what our equipment does. They learn about our rescue tools, and they get comfortable. They get comfortable with our inspection process. So we train them well, and then they participate as valuable members of the department. The same goes for the volunteers that join the legacy stations with the absence of maybe the psychological exam. That's a high cost, and it's not fair to pass that on to these legacy companies. Retention elements, the CBA. So we talked about the collective bargaining agreement. They have comparable salaries to the region and benefit packages. I think here in Upper Merion Township, they do a very great job with giving them some extra benefits in the form of a 401A retirement where they contribute 6% and the employee contributes a mandatory 3%. They have wellness and safe driving incentives. So if you don't have an accident while driving the apparatus or your fire service SUV or any type of vehicle, you'll get an extra 24 hours of compensatory time. Same with your wellness. If you don't call out sick, you get a financial incentive in the form of 24 hours of pay. I think a big component that you don't see in other areas is the tuition reimbursement. The municipality values education, and they want us to continue on in our collegiate careers. So they have a tuition reimbursement program where they average the credit hour from 3 of the state schools, Drexel, Westchester University, and Penn State University, and then they apply that credit hour to up to 18 credits per year towards a college. Volunteer members, they have a similar process in legacy companies. The cost of I talked about the psychological exam, but they also have outlets through a relief association where they can get reimbursed for seeking out education at the local Montgomery County, Bucks County, Delaware County, these training centers, fire and public safety training centers. They have a lot of outlets in schooling. They also have incentives in the form of a LoSAP. LoSAP was, as Bill mentioned earlier in the presentation, under the Senate Resolution 6 and 60, they had LoSAP for an incentive for your participation. They have a pension program or some form of retirement for when they're done their volunteer career. Stipend opportunities. For blocks of time where you serve at the fire station, you get a block of financial incentive. They get tax credits, which is very new, and Chief Lease was a big driving force in our county to get tax credits, whether it be 10% for administrative or 25, 50, 75, or 100%, depending upon your level of activity as a volunteer. And of course, I spoke about the training. There's countless training opportunities for all of our members, whether they're career or volunteer.
Next, we're going to talk about the recruiting tools that we use. Deputy Chief of Rangers is going to handle this section.
Great. Thanks, Chief. So most of the recruiting tools, as you'll see here in a few minutes, one of the top and easiest ways for us to do recruiting is word of mouth. Chief Johnson mentioned earlier, sitting around the firehouse, the talk, bragging rights, come join us, right? That's what it's all about. So that's been one of the easiest and probably most used recruitment tools that we have. Some of the other tools that have provided some good amount of interest from new members when polled was that they saw yard signs that we had posted throughout our community and around the township at different sites. Those yard signs are advertising to become a member, and we utilize two different styles. One comes locally from Upper Merion that we created, and then we also have signs that we are partnered with Montgomery County Fire Chiefs Association. And the local one brings you right to Upper Merion, and you can join us. If someone sees the other one in the town or even in a nearby community from the Montgomery County Fire Chiefs Association, they have a mechanism to figure out where that person lives, and they'll direct them to the proper fire department. And in some cases, we've gotten many of interest from our community seeing both of those signs. Montgomery County Fire Chiefs also has another program that has helped us along the way as well with their promo on social media advertisements and video clips. Some of that of which is advertised local members that can go over all those social media posts. And it's actually a real neat thing to see some of the neighboring firefighters as well have some bragging rights that they're advertising for recruitment and retention. A brand new tool that we partnered with recently throughout our county, matter of fact, is with our tech schools. And the program that it is, high school students in their senior year will now have the ability to complete training and certification in Pro Board Firefighter 1, become National Registered EMT, and also an APCO telecommunicator, allowing that graduate to leave there with the needed certifications and get started in an emergency career path. Locally, our township government TV access has been a great partner helping us with advertising. They partnered with advertising not only on our TV network, but even locally on a sign that's basically in the middle of our township that advertises both career opportunities and volunteer opportunities in our community. We do also advertise on our annual solicitation letters that come from the legacy fire departments. And the Township Electronic Message Board, as I mentioned, not only for volunteer stations, have their own message boards that can do those advertisements. So it's been a great partnership with a lot of different organizations as well as our own. Video.
Sorry, the video doesn't work. Next up, we're going to talk about retention, the values and benefits of that. Deputy Chief Small is going to handle the things that we're doing in the retention category.
So we'll just go straight down from the previous slide for training. Each company has training every Monday night. And then once a month, all the legacy companies and the career staff get together to have one focused training with everyone throughout the department. Our training is paid for by the department. We send members to FDIC, classes in-state, out-of-state, local classes. We also host numerous in-house classes just to make it a little bit easier to.
Okay, we lost him. We lost your guys' audio. Let's give it a second, see if Laybook is going to be able to do something. Just what you guys wanted to see was me, I'm sure. All right. I cannot see you all, no. No, I can't see you. I suggest logging out, logging back in. I cannot hear you either. For our audience, we're the technology mice have gnawed away with the internet cable. So we're going to let the group in Pennsylvania log out and log back in. I will talk to you a few minutes about what the V2S is doing. And, we are currently having multiple discussion or having discussions about multiple education programs. Webinars is just one of them. We have the Critical Thinking Academy that's coming up in Houston in March. That is a 3-weekend commitment over a year. And if you're interested in that, I encourage you to get in touch with me at jmbuckman3rd@gmail.com. And we'll get you in touch with how to get registered for that or how to find more information out about that. It is our new program, the Critical Thinking Academy, to try to teach fire chiefs and other officers how to think critically and analyze problems in a more in-depth way versus just bam, fire a shotgun out and see what sticks. The other thing is we always encourage people to attend Symposium in the Sun. That is in November. If you've never made it to that, we encourage you to do that. That is usually the first week in November in Clearwater Beach, Florida. It's a tough gig, 1 week. Education starts on Thursday, ends on Sunday. And you walk out the back door, you're about 50 foot from sand, and then you're about 100 yards from the ocean. So I encourage you to do that. If you're looking at transitioning from an all volunteer staff department to a combination system, and maybe you have some questions about how to do that, some of the pitfalls and some of the challenges like this group here experienced, and we have some people that might be able to that have experienced it and might be able to help you negotiate that avenue. So they're still they're logged back in now, like in 5 different screens. So it looks like all 5 of them tried logging in. So Blaine is still muted. All the rest of them are just there, Blaine. I have 5 blank screens. Or I can't count. Okay, they're going to try to log back in from a different location in their EOC. I see they're logging out now. So thank you very much for your patience. And we're going to hopefully get back live here in a minute. I hope most of the fire departments, at least in the Midwest and the East Coast, are preparing for the winter storm blast that they say we're going to be getting. I'm not sure exactly when it is, but I understand it might be Thursday and might be Saturday. And there is Blaine back. So we have one person back. I can't hear you, Blaine. You're unmuted. I just saw you mute and unmute again.
How about now?
I hear you now. Yes, sir.
I apologize. Apparently, our viewing room just imploded.
Well,
Let's
as
see.
luck would have it, they only implode when we're using them.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Well, nobody jumped on the chat, yelled, and screamed. So
Can you guys see the? Can you see the screen?
I can see the screen. You're sharing the screen. Yes, sir.
And you can hear me, right?
I can hear you. Yes, sir.
You can see the slides changing.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to get back on track here, and we apologize to everybody for this. I'm going to get my crew of people to come to my office now.
And Blaine, the video might have played there.
Did you hear the sound?
I did. Yes.
We're going to go back to that then, because I spent a lot of time on that.
Well, now see, it had flames come up.
Yeah. There we go.
We need everybody. We need administrative, we need firefighters, we need people to direct traffic.
We have roles for anyone. Not everybody has to come out to fight fire. Fight fire is the smallest part of it.
Anybody can volunteer. You can go to any firehouse, and you're going to be welcome with open arms.
Every day is something different. Every call is something different. You never know what you're going to walk into.
We are ordinary people trained for the extraordinary. Join us.
Well, Blaine, that is a good video. Short to the point, very energetic, should capture the audience for the young people, especially. I liked your slogan, ordinary people doing extraordinary things, something like that. I can't hear you if you're talking.
How about now?
I can hear you, yes, sir.
All right. Go ahead, Bob. You can start again, bud.
All right, we'll just pick up where we left off, and I believe it was the stipend program. So right now, our current stipend program is 12-hour shifts Monday through Thursday, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., and then 6 p.m. Friday through 6 a.m. Monday. It can be broken up into 6-hour shifts, but we try and prefer that the member does a 12-hour shift just to make it easier for coverage. They do get compensated at $120 for a 12-hour shift. And then the crew also gets $60 for meal money so that they can, purchase their meals during the shift. During the shift, they meet up with the career staff. They do training. A lot of times the members are working on the trucks, cleaning the firehouse, doing some projects around the station. So it's a benefit in that as well, that things get accomplished during their shifts. And it also creates a sense of camaraderie between the members, if you're hanging out together or working together, if you will, as you become closer friends, I guess you can say. So the stipend program has been a very big benefit for us, of recruiting new members and then trying to retain some of those members. As previous mentioned, we do have a tax rebate. Right now, Montgomery County started that in 2025. So we're going into our second year of the tax program. Upper Marion Township has recently followed suit with that. And 2026 is going to be the first year for the tax rebate of our township taxes if you own a home in Upper Marion Township. We will be working hopefully this year in 2026 with the school district to come up with some sort of tax rebate program with them as well. Throughout the year, we do logo wear, where we set up stores with a vendor, and then the member gets a certain amount of money provided to them as, I guess you can say, a gift card, and they can purchase some kind of logo wear, whether it be hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, workout gear, whatever, basically whatever they want with our township logo and our company logos on it. We do throughout the year give gift cards to our members to different restaurants. It certainly benefits our members that they can take their loved ones out, their family out, to dinner on the fire company. So it's another benefit that we provide to our members to try and say thank you and keep them coming around. The township has a couple different awards that they do each year. There is a Rotary Club award, and then there's also a Township Firefighter Award, where you get recognized at the Rotary Club meeting or one of our township meetings. And I think that's a very nice way to compliment the firefighter or EMS provider for what they did for the year. So it lets their family know that they are valued when they leave the house, that they're being recognized for doing good within the community. So we also have fire company banquets and different events. Each fire company hosts a company banquet. I know like King of Prussia just had our 75th annual banquet, where it was a big gala. So again, it's a way to show our members that, we care about them, we appreciate them, and it's also for their families to thank them for allowing their loved ones to go out, and miss different things throughout the year. And lastly, we have a mentor program. Basically, what that comes down to is senior members within the fire company. They get paired up with newer members, and they'll walk them through what the fire company is all about, whether it be from day in and day out operations, whether it be training, whether it be just the company service in general. That senior member will basically hold the new member's hand and walk them through and guide them and try and assist them to appreciate the fire company and the fire service as a whole. So that's another real good program that we have here in Upper Marion Township.
Within our department, we have a few different types of membership categories. First, the volunteers are members of the 3 legacy volunteer fire companies, along with EMS members that would like to volunteer and give back to the community. They're allowed to join the volunteer fire companies and continue giving back to the community as an EMS provider. The career members we touched on a little bit ago as well. but we currently have 20 full-time firefighters and 24 full-time EMS personnel. The fire police is a group assembled from all three of the legacy volunteer fire companies a few years back. It all fell under one captain instead of multiple fire police captains, and they assist at incidents and community events that are held not only within our municipality but also local municipalities. The stipend program is for members scheduled for duty shifts during weeknights and weekends, and they assist in staffing a second out piece of apparatus. Each of the legacy fire companies have administrative members as well. So members of the community, if they don't want to crawl down a hallway or stand out in the middle of an intersection directing traffic, but still want to give back, there's many different types of administrative roles. Some examples are board of directors, trustees, and these members can also assist with the Fire Chiefs Council that we have in town, the Relief Association, and fundraising to take the burden off of the firefighters that are already being pulled in many directions with trainings and incidents.
So we just wanted to show a comparison of where we came from in 2019. In 2019, we had 10 career firefighters. And now in 2025, we're at 50 overall between fire and EMS and the fire marshal's office and the fire chief. New volunteers, since we started the process in 2019, we just want to leave it flat there. We did receive 12 new members just in 2025 alone, but in full disclosure, we had 16 members that departed due to obtaining career jobs in and around our area that we are. The stipend volunteer members, we still see an increase in those numbers. We received 20 new stipend members just in 2025 as well. And since the program started actually in 2019, we just left that at 0. The volunteers in the fire police, overall in 2019 was approximately 100 members. And right now we're currently sitting at around 74 of those members coming and going. Administratively, there's 24 positions amongst the 3 legacy fire stations, and those still hold true today as well. We want to make sure that everybody understands that our administrative members are helping run the traditional volunteer fire service with the board of directors and so forth, like Deputy Chief Recruitment just said. We spoke about members that are moving on to career positions. As we said, over the past couple of years, we've counted 16 of them that have departed to career departments or combination departments, if you will, as some of these are right local to where we're at already. But those members that we spend time training and recruiting, we're just not able to retain them because they're going out to have these as career positions. So there's just some of the ones that we've had, and we're almost certain that there's probably a couple more that are either underway or left before we started looking at the development process.
So a couple of key takeaways is that recruitment is a continual process and you can't take a break from it. We've learned over the years that it is marketing all the time, whether it's for the volunteers or the career staff. As Chief O'Rangers mentioned, we have a billboard or a digital sign that sits out in front of our municipal building that constantly advertises for openings for the volunteer fire departments, for the career firefighter staff, and for the EMS staff. The retention requirements change. We need to be aware of that, and we have to act accordingly. I think the best way to put this is once you've seen what we offer in recruitment and retention, you see that it's actually a cafeteria plan. It's a cafeteria plan on what becomes necessary to do to recruit, and you never know what the people are going to want, so you constantly have to be asking them, what do you want? what would be good for you personally. Then you have to build a plan around that. Leadership is key. It takes leaders in the organizations, both administratively and operationally, to make this all work and to make sure that the members feel included and appreciated. Because the fastest thing leadership can do is to destroy the morale by making members feel they're not included or they're not appreciated. So I think that in the big picture, we've taken a number of different components, put that together, and have been able to sustain an organization, build and sustain an organization, which is a model to be used. As was mentioned by Chief Buckman, we received the Recruitment and Retention Award at VCOS's Symposium in the Sun, and are extremely appreciative of being recognized for that and taking a look at our program. But just as important to that, we received the Pennsylvania State Firemen's Association Recruitment and Retention Award this past year. And it made us feel good that we were recognized both locally and nationally for the work that we've been doing to recruit people, keep people, and constantly build the system. Another great video. Another great video. Thank you all very much. I will say, Bill, you have made a statement just a minute ago. Make sure you're giving the people what they want. And going back to your last slide on the four boxes, I thought that was so appropriate. Is that you need to see what benefits they want. You have a cafeteria approach to benefits, and what works for me may not work for you. Especially won't work. More than likely, what works for an 18 or 20-year-old is not going to work for a 50-year-old. So I think that's a very important part of being successful in retaining people, is asking them what the people want. I don't see any questions, but I'll come up with a couple here. We got about 6 minutes left because I was making notes, and you answered my population question, total runs, and I guess the guys in Bloomington, do they argue with you, Bill, about the largest shopping mall?
We don't listen to it, to be honest.
So let's see. Oh, okay. EMA takeover by the police, as well as this collaboration. How controversial was that amongst the volunteers? Or was it, I should say, was it controversial?
I'll let Chief Lisa answer that one, but from the elected official standpoint, it was a non-issue.
Yeah, so fortunately or unfortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, I was a corporal in the police department when that took place. And I've worked my way up through that to then becoming the public safety director. So I got to watch it from the outside and then be a part of it. I don't think it was controversial at all, at least not from my perspective. We have a very strong and a good working relationship with all three of the deputies of the legacy fire companies. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to get them to come here and participate with us in our webinar. But we communicate with each other on a daily basis. We respond to calls with each other. We allow the police officers to do things to help the fire service and EMS. In Upper Marion, it's not abnormal to see a police officer driving an ambulance to the hospital, or a police officer pumping an engine while the firefighters are putting out a fire. We've come full circle. We allow our people to work to help finish the incident, mitigate it, bring calm to the community. So the hardest part is just getting everybody to understand that we're all here doing the same job to take care of the community. So with that being, the public safety director position, I didn't mention it earlier, but I've been a paramedic for 34 years and a fireman for 40 years. So police work is the least of my experience, with only 20 years of that. But it brings it full circle, and I don't think that there's no rubs anywhere along that. In saying that, when I told you I was the corporal, I was the emergency management corporal underneath the police lieutenant. And before this position, I was the emergency management coordinator, and we all work across the whole team. There's detectives on the emergency management team. There's fire marshals. There's deputy chiefs, the fire chief, of course. So there's about 10 members that work with emergency management with all the diverse background. I hope that answers your question, John.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
One other thing I wanted to add, when we designed it this way as the elected officials, we felt that having it in the police department or under a Department of Public Safety, there was constantly dispatchers available that could make communications happen. They could reach out in one phone call, and either the command police officer that was whoever was responsible for that time period, whether it was 5 PM, 2 PM, or 1 o'clock in the morning, they would have the direct connectivity to start resources moving to solve whatever challenge we might have. And we saw that wasn't happening as the town began to grow. And we leaped literally 10,000 people in about 2 years.
Wow. Well, this does answer my question. And last week we did another webinar, and it was the William F. Genoway Injury and Illness Prevention Award, sponsored by VCOS and VFIS. And what that department, in a leadership role, is they took 4 departments over a 6-year period and created a joint operating guidelines on incident command. So all departments operate on the same incident command procedure. So what you've done a similar thing. And my point is, to those who might be staying here to the end, it takes courage, it takes work, but it can be done. And the key is, as the director said, it's about communications. My department just merged. I just sold my department to my neighboring department. We merged. It wasn't a hostile takeover. For the same reasons that you guys consolidated or collaborated, we had the same issue. Volunteers weren't making runs, and so on and so forth. So my point to those who are still listening, do it. Have some guts. Start the process. It's not going to happen overnight. I think you guys took you like 4 years to do this, Director?
Yeah, it was about 4 years. We started the process in 2019, and I'd like to think in the last 2 years or 3 years or so, we've actually, started to not hear the squeaky wheel anymore.
So it's going to take some effort, but we encourage you to look at that. Look at this program. Get a hold of these guys. Get a hold of the other webinar, which will be posted. I accidentally deleted the link to it, so that's why it's not posted yet. But she'll get that back up for me, and we'll get that posted for everybody to see. So with that, I think we're right at 5 o'clock your time, 4 o'clock my time. I want to thank you all, 1, for having a program, 2, for being willing to share the program. And I want to congratulate you on receiving the recognition, being awarded the award from the VCOS and VFIS. And we certainly appreciate VFIS sponsoring this and helping VCOS in many other ways. And so with that, I want to sign on. I would say, Blaine, do you have any closing comment?
Thank you for giving us the opportunity, and we apologize for our technical difficulties, but unfortunately we were able to overcome them.
Well, it's like what firefighters do and police officers, we adapt and overcome. And that's what we do. So
thank you, and everybody stay safe.
Thank everybody who's listening, going to be listening to it. We appreciate your time. If you have any questions, JM Buckman, BUCKMAN 3RD @gmail.com, and I can get this to the Upper Marion Township people as well. So thank you all very much. Have a great evening and be safe. Bye-bye.